Hi, welcome back to Crafting and Crime Daily. Today I am recapping the trial of Karen. Now, her real name is Susan Lorencz. She was at the time, and I do have to correct something. She was born in 1964, not 1960. Like I said, it's been very difficult to hear this trial. But in any case, um, 59 years old at the time of the shooting, which occurred in 2023, only a year ago. Now, I had said that it was 21. Again, the hearing thing is it's not so good. The sound on this trial is really difficult. So it did not occur during COVID. It occurred after COVID. So the kids were running around playing, but it was summer. It was June. So I might not even have the date right. I know it occurred in June, somewhere between the 1st and the 7th. Not sure. It's so difficult to make out all the details. But I have the testimony for the afternoon. Once the jury got back from lunch, we're going to tell you what the testimony showed yesterday. So welcome back to the channel. If you're new, welcome. Glad to have you. If you've been around a while, I'm glad you're sticking around because the Robert Tellis trial starts this afternoon too. So I'll be covering both of these trials in separate videos. But yeah. So let me tell you a little bit about Susan Lorencz. She is on trial for the manslaughter of Ajike Owens. She was 24 at the time, had four children under the age of 12, four children. And there was an altercation. This woman, Susan, had been, she's the get off my lawn lady. She just couldn't get along with her neighbors in this place. And the kids would play in the side field. They call it a field, but it's a large grassy area between two, they call them quadplexes. These two quadplexes, 4 units in each quadplex, but they had different owners. So this field, a little bit more than half of this field belonged to one owner. And then there's a little sliver that belonged to the owner that Susan Lorencz rented from. And she had the landlord put up no trespassing signs, and the kids were just what happens when you say something to kids. They're gonna come back at you. They're gonna start harassing you, bullying you, and they did. And this woman just did not let up. And these kids were out playing this one day. The playing kind of broke up, but 3 boys kind of stayed behind, and they were harassing her that day. So she calls 911. The police are on their way because she has said they're trespassing on my property. So they're on their way to investigate a trespassing. Meanwhile, here comes Ajike Owens, the boy's mother, because they ran home to tell their mom. And I don't know what they told their mom. We'll never know. But kids are, they can exaggerate the situation, or tell the situation from their point of view. So she goes marching over to Ajike Owens' quadplex and starts banging on the door. And there's some conflict between what the defendant says she said and what witnesses say she said. But in any case, Ajike's knocking on this door. Susan goes and gets her gun, fires through the door, injuring Ajike Owens. Ajike screams, starts running away, collapses by the tree in this open field. And 911 is called again. So the same officers who were on their way, now they're going lights and siren to get there. And she passes away. She does not survive. So Susan's on trial for manslaughter. So the first witness after lunch on the first day, on the first episode, I went through opening statements and the first few witnesses, mostly lay witnesses. Today, I'm going to talk to you about a lot of sheriff deputies. We had a whole lot of sheriff deputies, 5 or 6, I think. So the first person was a, a juvenile named Lyndon Robinson. I think he said he was in the 6th grade. I don't know that he actually ever said his age. We didn't get to see him. So these were his friends. He was hanging out with his friends. Oh, this was a she. I'm sorry. She was hanging out with the friends. They were all out playing in the yard. But then she leaves and she goes home with another friend, and they're doing each other's makeup. And as they're doing each other's makeup, she hears a loud bang. She opens the door. She sees some boys running, and she saw Ajike and Susan arguing, and she says, oh, this was a different occasion. Oh my goodness. Okay. So on this occasion, she heard a loud bang. She opened the door. She saw some kids running. Then she talks about a prior occasion where she saw Ajike and Susan arguing, and Ajike picked up the no trespassing sign and threw it at Susan. Tossed it at her, but it did hit Susan, but barely, is what this child said. Okay. Then we have Sheriff number 1. This is the parade of the sheriffs. He responded to this prior call about the trespassing sign being thrown at Susan. This was in February of 2022. So a year and a half before this? Yeah. So she's responding to the call as a battery. She thinks there's a battery that has occurred. So Susan had been hit by no trespassing sign. She examined Susan for injuries. Didn't see any visible injuries on Susan. No bruising, no scratches, nothing. And she interviewed both women, and Ajike told her that she didn't have any rights to tell people not to be on that property. She wasn't the owner, and she wanted to see proof that this woman was the owner. Anyway, no arrests were made. She calmed everybody down, and everybody went home. Sheriff number 2, he responded to a call in December of 2022, so about 6 months before this, in which the call came through as a verbal altercation. And Ajike was at Susan's door, threatening her, said she was going to drag her out and beat her. He did not see any damage to the door, but no arrests were made on that phone call. On that, but the police told Mrs. Owens if she had any trouble, they told Ajike, instead of going over there, if you've got trouble with this woman, call 911. Okay, don't go there. All right. I imagine they said that to both people. Just call 911. Don't take this into your own hands. Anyway, so then we get the 911 operator on the stand, and we get to hear the first phone call. Because remember, there were 2 911 calls. Now, yesterday I played the second 911 call after the shooting because that's what the defense played during their opening statements to the jury. So now the jury is hearing the first 911 call. And this was prompted by these 3 boys that had hung around after all the other kids had dispersed. They had hung around and they were on her property and they were harassing her. So she calls 911. Here is that phone call.
911, what is the address emergency?
1662 Southwest 107th Lane.
All right, and then can you repeat that phone number one more time to make sure I have it correct?
1662 Southwest 107th Lane.
All right, what is your phone number in case you disconnected?
352-777-5909.
What is your name?
Lawrence.
I'm sorry, you said your name was Susan?
Yes.
And what is your last name, Susan?
Lorencz, L-O-R-I-N-C-E.
All right, and tell me exactly what happened.
I got kids trespassing down there, leaving all the toys around. It's just screaming, yelling, just being absolutely obnoxious. I went through the roller skate over to the other side. The kid says, I'm going to beat you up for that. And he's mouthing off to me.
All right.
Right in my own home.
Is he out there right now?
Yeah, there's several kids out there right now. I'm fearing for my life. I'm very scared.
Okay. All right, and what unit number are you in?
3.
Unit 3, okay.
Yeah.
Do they also live in the same building?
No, they live
No.
across the street.
Okay. Were there any weapons involved?
No.
How many people are involved?
Earlier there was about 20 kids out there screaming, yelling, ask them to leave, they're like, screw you, now there's 3 boys.
3?
Yes.
Okay.
And the kid saying, I took his iPad and all this other shit is taking it through. The only thing I was okay with the roller skates, and I don't want to get tangled with these children.
All right, and are they white, black, Hispanic, or Asian?
I think one is Hispanic, the other two are black.
All right, and then the Hispanic, how old would you say he was?
At 12.
12, all right. Were they all about the same age?
Sure.
All right, and then the Hispanic male, what is he wearing?
I think a t-shirt and pants on.
Do you know what color t-shirt?
No, I couldn't tell them the
Okay.
I just don't like them coming around my house. They've been coming onto my deck, my patio, and telling me, get up, when I'm watching TV and stuff. They have no business over here. There's no trespassing signs. I don't like the kids threatening me that they're going to beat me up, that they're going to get someone else to kill me. And this is just ridiculous.
Are you or anyone else in danger right now?
I lock my doors.
All right, who is in charge of the property?
Charles Gabbard.
I'm sorry?
Charles Gabbard owns the actual flashback.
But are you on the lease?
Oh, yeah, I'm just,
Okay.
I leased the 1 unit. They just keep badgering me and badgering me. I'm just sick of these children. Now that they're home from school, it's like, craziness.
All right, do you want you to avoid that person and then keep your doors and windows locked? An officer will be dispatched as soon as possible. Do you want the officer to contact you?
Please, yes.
All right.
Because what's going to happen is his mom's going to go out, wait for the officer and run and say, oh my God, I was threatening her kid, which just isn't true.
All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and let you go, but please call us back if anything changes or if you get any further information or if they do leave, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
So you heard her. They were badgering her. And so she locked her doors and she's waiting for the police. So the officer's dispatched. He's on his way. During that time, Susan goes to the bathroom. And when she comes out of the bathroom, while she's in the bathroom, she hears Ajike pounding on the door. So then the next person on the stand was dispatcher. Well, going back to the 911 operator, they did play the second 911 call as well, but you heard that yesterday after the shot was fired. So Kenesha Mobley, she was a 911 dispatcher. She came on and they played the second call. So then there was the sheriff number 2 or 3, sheriff number 3. Sorry. He was the responding officer. He was on his way. He said he was actually a field training officer, and he had a new employee with him, a new officer with him. Not new to the business. This officer had worked in another location because he's the next sheriff to take the stand. But so not new as a police officer, but new to this city. So they're together and they hear the call. They're about 10 to 15 minutes away. So they start responding. And they're responding to what they believe is a trespass call. On the way, they hear that there have been shots fired. And they put on their lights and siren and they head over to the call. So from the time the 911 call was placed, which was 21:02 and 49 seconds, to the time that the responding officer gets there for the first phone call, 6 minutes. That includes what occurred during the phone call, her going to the bathroom, the banging on the door. This is 6 minutes. So when the officer arrives, he sees a person on the ground near a tree, but they had to secure the shooter first. So they went to her house because the first witness that was on the stand yesterday was a private citizen, former military officer. He identifies himself right away to this responding officer and says, "I'm former military. She lives right there, Unit 3." So they go over there, come out with your hands up. She comes out, and you're going to see footage of that. What do you want? I just gave you treats. Oh, this cat doesn't know what he wants. So, in any case, so they handcuff her, place her in the vehicle, and then they go over to the victim. But they start CPR immediately. She has a faint pulse when they get over to the victim. Now, the second officer, the officer that was in training, he takes the stand next. He's got his body cam footage on, and I want to show you this body cam footage. Watch in this footage. You're going to hear her when she comes out with her hands up, and she's not hysterical, not like she was on that 911 phone call 30 seconds before they got there. She's quite calm, quite calm. Now, the thing you're going to notice also is that we talked about this sliding glass door, and one of her defenses is this was her only exit, this door that she shot through, this wood door. Well, the sliding glass door and the wood door are right next to each other. So I understand. Okay, so you don't have a way to get out if she's there. So she couldn't have gotten out the sliding glass door because they're right next to each other. Then you're going to hear her ask, she wants to go feed her cats, and then she wants them to close the door so the cats don't get out. And now I'm thinking to myself, oh, we have another childless cat lady. Oh, that's terrible. I'm sorry. I had to go there.
She said there's an old white lady.
Do you have your trauma bag? Bro, where? Ex-military. She's in the house, bro. That apartment. Right here. This first apartment. I need like a 49. Baby, wake up. Baby, wake up. That's right there. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up, baby. Wake up. Baby, wake up. Come on. Hey, baby, wake up. We need to do CPR real quick. Baby, wake up. CPR. Baby, wake up. Let me see. Do we have any pulse? Do we have any pulse? We got a pulse. We got a pulse. All right. Sheriff's office, come outside with your hands up. This is the Marion County Sheriff's office, come outside with your hands up. Show me your hands. Show me your hands. Turn around. Turn around. Where's your gun at? You got hands? You got hands? You're going to be detained. Is there anybody else in the house?
Somebody else in the house. Can I just get my
No,
brother?
no, not right now.
All right.
You're not under arrest. You're being detained.
Okay, I understand.
Come over here.
Oh, wait, can you close the door? I have two cats inside.
Hold
I
on.
don't want the cats to run out.
Get my med bag. Start giving first aid. The police bag? Green shoulder bag. Here. Go assess the person down. Okay.
Now, Deputy Barboza, you see in your body.
Yeah. So this next officer with the body cam, he testifies, and of course the jury was not supposed to hear this, but he says, this is a troubled neighborhood. Troubled neighborhood. So he, once they get her in the vehicle, he goes over to assist with the resuscitation. He said he could not find a pulse. He could not see any respirations in it. At no time was she responsive. Any of the people that testify that they were aiding the victim all testify that she was not responsive. She never said anything. So then we have yet another, I've lost track where we're at, Sheriff number 5, I think. She got there as backup to this shooting call. She goes over to assist with the resuscitation as well. She said she could feel a faint pulse, but she removes her shirt. She's looking for an exit wound because she wants to treat, they're trying to do CPR. She's cutting the shirt off because she needs to control the wound, the bleeding. She sees the bleeding on the chest. She's trying to control that. Now she's looking for an exit wound. She cuts the bra off. She can't find an exit wound. She said later on, she interviews the 2 children that were at the scene. Now, Ajike had 4 children. The 2 younger ones were still at home. Then, I love these little comments that they slide in past the jury that aren't really supposed to come in. She said she seemed to be indifferent, no crying. And she's talking about the defendant because it was her job to drive the defendant to the police station that night for the interview. You always want to have a female driving a female. So she said she seemed to be indifferent, and she would have expected her to be crying and upset. No. Seemed to be indifferent. And that's kind of a good adjective to describe her during that body cam footage, like indifferent. And anytime you see this woman on camera, like during this body cam or during the police interviews that are coming up, she doesn't ask about the victim. How is she? Nothing like that. So the next person on the stand is one of the crime scene investigators that responded to the scene. She works for the sheriff's office. She photographed Suan Lorentz's residence. She said there was no damage to the sliding glass door. There was no damage to the locking mechanism. There was damage to the door frame with cracks near the strike plate, but those appear to have been repaired. So that's damage from the prior incident with this door. And then she did all of these measurements because the bullet hole was like right in the middle of the door. So it was 52 inches off the ground. So what is that? 4 foot something, 12, 24, 36, 48, 60. So 4.5 foot off the ground. And what she does is she takes a trajectory rod and puts it through that hole. And it has these little rubber stoppers on either end of the trajectory rod to secure it into the hole so the rod isn't moving around. And then they have this laser that they put on the rod to show you the angle of the rod. And I'm going to show you that footage now.
Showing photograph 41 of stage 1. Explain what we're looking at here.
So right now I am standing inside the living room area, looking towards the door and the wall behind the door. The rod is to the right inside of the door, so you can see the yellow rod, the black cone, and then on the opposite end of the cone is the black laser. That's the applicator for the laser. It is attached, it just screws into the trajectory rod, and then from there you turn it on and it shows the trajectory path of the bullet potentially, and we just photographed it at that.
You can see that rod going from right to left and downward. Yeah. It's like she was up here and the bullet was going downward. So this CSI, she did find a spent cartridge casing in the kitchen on a countertop. And later on, we're going to hear that Susan said she was standing near the kitchen table when she fired the shot. So then she finds she's looking for the weapons, and she finds a trash can in the Susan Lorentz's bedroom that's between the bed and the nightstand, and there's 2 weapons in this trash can. The first one was the bullet that she found in the kitchen was a Blazer 380 auto bullet. So in the trash can, she finds a 22 caliber Ruger that was fully loaded with 1 in the chamber, in a holster that's in the trash can, and a Remington RM380 with 4 rounds in the gun that was in a pouch in this trash can. And she said that this gun matched the casings found in the kitchen. So this is the one they're going to send to the technician to compare with whatever they find in Ajike's body later on. Then the next witness is the landlord. He takes the stand, and he readily admits, listen, the majority of this open field is not my property. It's not. And I've made that clear to her. This is not my property. I've owned this for over 20 years. He put up 2 no trespassing signs that he went to Home Depot and got. So they're just the little signs that say, stay off the grass. And on the other side, they say no trespassing. But this was at her request. So he placed them on the property line where he knew the property line to be. So he said about 4 to 6 weeks prior to this, he had repaired her front door at her request. He said she did not tell him what happened to the door, but he said this was a temporary repair. He replaced the metal plates and put screws in it, but the door was cracked all the way down. And he said, but that's cosmetic. He said, I told her I would fix that later on. But he said when he finished that day, this door was structurally sound. She had 3 locks on it. She had the regular lock, a deadbolt, and a keychain that he put in at her request. So she did not give him any explanation, except to say that somebody slammed the door. So then the medical examiner testified next. I'm on day 2 now. Let's go to day 2. That was the end of testimony for day 1. So day 2, and I anticipated, due to some of the sidebars that they had yesterday, that they were kind of going to wrap this case up today. But I don't know, because maybe by the end of the day, I don't think this is going to be a long case. So the medical examiner said that she examined Ajike's body and that she had an abrasion to her right wrist. Could have been from anything, we don't know. And then she had the gunshot wound to her right chest. Then she explained that the bullet went right to left. I'll get my directions correct. Right to left. So it hit the right chest and it went downward. And they found the bullet lodged in her abdomen. But it went through the 4th rib, the right lung. So it goes 4th rib, right lung, esophagus, aorta, then to the diaphragm, then through the spleen, and then it lodged in the left lower abdomen down here. So she stood up and she pointed, it went in here, and it actually came out like down here. Yeah. So the cause of death was a gunshot wound, and the manner of death was homicide. Now, she did do a toxicology screen. It was totally negative. Now, on cross-examination, the defense pointed out this one was 293 pounds, 5'7". She was a big gal, big shoulders. Yep. And I'm sure he's pointing that out to support that, she could have squashed this little lady. This lady. I don't know. Anyway, next person, FDLE, firearms identifier. She's the one that compared the bullet that was recovered by the medical examiner to the gun that was found in the trash can, the 380. Those matched. So she said that bullet was fired from that gun. Okay. I don't think there was any question about that, but okay. Well, maybe because there was 2 guns. So then I'm going to be playing some of the excerpts from this initial police interview. So she's brought to the station by one of the officers we heard from yesterday. She's brought to the station for an interview. At the end of this interview, she goes home. Well, she doesn't go home. No, they told her it's not safe for you to go home. So they actually, at the end of the interview, they take her back to the apartment to get her truck keys, get the 2 cats, get in the truck, and go somewhere else. Okay. She couldn't go back to the home anyway because they were searching her house. So some of the things I wanted to point out about this interview, she never asks about the victim. She does not ask about the victim. But I want you to listen to this portion of the interview.
So AJ, she came to your door
Oh, yeah.
and she was
Pounding on it. I was like, what the hell? My cats went flinging.
what was she saying? Was she
She's
saying
like,
anything?
You don't talk to my sons. I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, you know. And I was like in tears. I'm like shaking, and I'm like, oh my God. And I thought she had gone away, and then she starts banging again. I'm like, oh shit.
Did she like try to come inside?
She was trying as hard as she could.
And what do you mean?
That door was moving, and I'm like, holy shit, you know.
Like, did she try the door handle, or is she just beating on it to try to push it in, or what?
She was just, you know, just trying to push it in, and I was like, oh my God.
You're just letting you know it's back.
Okay. So what was she saying again?
She's like, you can't talk to my sons that way, you know. I'm like, you're trespassing, you know.
So you were communicating with her through the door? You were
Yeah,
able
and I'm
to-
like, all right, just leave. You know, I don't want to hear it. I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna fucking kill you. And I didn't think too much of it until she really started pounding that door. I'm like, oh my God. Then I got scared, like terrified, scared.
Now you had initially called,
Because they were.
did you call 911 or
Yeah,
did you
I-
use the non-emergency number when you called?
When the first time, because kids said, I'm gonna kill you, and my friends kill you, I'm like, oh my God, you know, what the hell's going on now? You know, I'm like, I don't need this aggravation.
Okay. So you called, was it 911?
Yeah, I called 911.
Okay. And that was before
Before
HI
she-
came
yeah,
over?
before
Okay.
she came over.
And the kid, okay, so we get like, as the deputies are responding, the call takers talking to you, they're putting information that you're telling them into the computer, which goes to us as we're going out there. So in that call notes, there's never any mention of you saying that they said that they're gonna kill you. It was more or less that they're harassing you, that
Oh, no, I told the lady that they
Okay.
said they were gonna kill me.
okay,
No, I was very specific when I spoke.
okay. Now, did you see who was out there at that time?
I just knew it was AJ by her voice. She screamed at me before, you know, and I'm like, oh, great, it's her again, you know. And I just, like I said, I just panicked, and I just got so frightened. I was like, oh my God, she's really gonna do it this time. She's gonna kill me.
Were you still on the phone with 911 when you fired the gun?
No. I thought that the kids went, and I was like, all right, I'll go check my truck in the morning. I didn't even leave, you know, I just went back to the house and locked the doors.
So, but you had already contacted 911.
Yeah.
Did they advise you that someone was responding, an
Yes,
officer
they
was
did.
responding?
They said someone's
Okay.
coming out, and they said lock the doors, you know, make sure you don't go outside. I'm like, okay, you know, usual.
And where were you at when she was pounding on the door? Were you?
I was actually in the bathroom.
You were in the bathroom. I haven't been inside, so how does it, like, when you go in through the front door?
It's all open, so
Okay.
you can see kind of the bathroom right from the front door,
Okay.
so.
And you were still able to hear her?
Oh,
She
oh
was
my
able to
God,
hear
yes.
you, that you know, as far as you know?
I don't know if she was able to hear me. I mean, she was just screaming for all she was worth. I'm like, stop, you know, and just, she wouldn't stop. And I'm just like, oh, dear God.
What else was she saying besides what you told me? Was she saying anything else?
She was just some of it was unintelligible,
Okay.
so she was just ranting.
So I noticed there's, you have a couple cameras in the house?
Yes.
Okay. And are those like Ring cameras or Arlo
They're
or
bling.
Blink? Okay.
I thought that was interesting. So one of the things she said was that she keeps the gun in the trash can. That's like where she keeps them. She wasn't throwing them away. This is where she keeps them. And I think one of the officers says to her, I guess nobody's going to look in a trash can for a gun. You know, they're going to look in nightstands and things like that. Anyway. So at some point during the interview, the officers say to her, you know, someone's dead. And I guess she had not been told. She had, like I said, she had never asked, how's the victim? And this is her response.
Because I was just so, like, come on.
But I know at least say if you did, but is that what happened? I mean, we got to kind of get specific about this because it's a big deal.
I understand.
Someone's dead.
Jesus Christ.
So that's why I say it's important to be specific and honest about everything. So.
It was only because she was pounding at my door, and I honest to God thought she was gonna come in.
Okay. So we have, over in our communication center.
So also during this interview, it comes out that she had a Ring camera on that door, and she's asked about this Ring camera, and she says it doesn't, at night, it doesn't capture anything. It's motion activated, but for some reason at night, it's just too dark. It doesn't capture anything. She admitted during the interview that she was swinging an umbrella at the children. She talks about how she fired one shot from near the kitchen table. She said she was not intending to shoot her. That's why she shot high. So then going back to the Ring camera. So the officers ask, can we see your phone? They get a warrant they don't get a warrant, but they get her to sign permission to search her phone, but she won't give them her passcode. She said, it'll open to my face. I'll open it for you. So she opens it for them, and they go to the Ring camera app. They can't find any video from the shooting. And they're like, did you delete something? And she's like, no. Here's my thoughts on that. She had time to put that gun back in the pouch and put it back in the trash can. She also probably had time to delete the Ring camera footage, because this is a smart woman. You can tell by some of the words and the language she's using that she's familiar. I was in mortal danger. She's been talking to a lawyer at some point. So they find some Ring camera footage from a prior incident where you can hear the kids yelling and screaming. You can't make out what they're saying, but it sounds to me like they're like having a good time. And then you can also hear this TV. And she says, oh, I had the TV turned up to 75 so I could drown out that sound. What? Okay. So they entered that interview, and they started to play the second interview. What happened was they let her go home. Then they wanted to get more evidence before they decided to arrest her. Probably they wanted to consult with the state attorney about whether they should arrest her. In any case, 4 days later, they go back, they arrest her. She's taken into custody. She gives a second interview. That will be played after lunch, and I will cover that for you tomorrow. Okay. So I'm also going to put out a video probably later today or tomorrow on the Robert Ellis case that starts today with opening statements. So have a wonderful day, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe. If you lasted all this time, subscribe, become a member, become a Patreon, or just hit super thanks and make a one-time donation to the channel. So have a great day, everybody. Take care. Bye.